Well, it's still summer, of course, in the Northern Hemisphere, but the Farmers Almanac forecast is out for winter of 2023-2024. How accurate is it really, though? How does it compare to scientific forecasts? And what would influence our winter weather patterns this year? So the Farmers Almanac forecast is out for winter, and it has a pretty dismal record of accuracy. People always want to believe in it, though, because we like a little magic, I think, even in 2023. There is no scientific methodology ever released, so they don't release how they make their forecasts. But we do know that it's about as accurate as a coin flip, where scientific forecasts are actually much more accurate, show some skill. Of course, they're not perfect, but they actually show skill compared to a random chance or coin flip. So the Farmers Almanac is forecasting a cold winter, real bold claim here for the upper Midwest. An average snowfall, unseasonably cold and stormy in the south, cold and snowy in the Northeast, seasonably cold and wet in the West. So let's take a look at how it's done. This is last winter. We saw above normal temperatures for most of the country, including even much of Minnesota, which typically in a La Nina year, which we had last year, another one, 3 in a row, would see cooler than normal conditions. And the actual cooler conditions were confined mostly to the western U.S. So how accurate is it? Well, the Farmers Almanac is about 52%, meaning that's the same as random chance. 50-50 would be a coin flip. That's from a University of Illinois study. But our official forecasts from the Climate Prediction Center, which uses science, are 40% more accurate than chance. So much more skill goes into it and accuracy than in a coin flip or the Farmer's Almanac. So this is what it forecasted last winter. Cold, snowy conditions, real bold, as I mentioned, for a lot of the northern and eastern U.S. And it was wetter than normal for most of the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes. Much drier, though, in Texas and Florida. And it was forecasting a cold, wet winter for Florida, which didn't pan out. So how does that compare to the official NOAA forecast from last winter? Well, the Climate Prediction Center was forecasting equal chances of it being above or below, so basically kind of a wash. And for Minnesota, at least, in the Midwest, it was pretty much that way. It ended up being a little bit above normal. But the precipitation pattern really was kind of interesting because they're forecasting above normal precipitation for the Great Lakes. And we did see that. It was just that it was a little bit more west and more spread out than what the official forecasts showed. So last year, NOAA's forecast did pretty good. And again, the influence on last year's winter pattern, or one of them, was the La Nina pattern, where we typically see cooler than normal conditions from Alaska through the western part of Canada into the upper Midwest. But it ended up being average or even slightly above for places like Minnesota. So again, this is what the Farmers Almanac is forecasting this year. Cold with average snowfall. And that is curious because we're heading into an El Nino year, and El Nino has a strong influence on winter temperatures towards the warmer for the whole northern half of the country. So we flipped from 3 years of La Nina to an El Nino pattern this spring and summer, and it's expected to continue to strengthen actually as we head into the fall and winter. So that could really influence the winter temperature pattern. And this is what we normally see in an El Nino winter. Above normal temperatures for much of the northern U.S. into western Canada, and an active stormy jet stream through the southern U.S. So California could see a very wet winter pattern again and through the southern U.S. And these are different forecast models for how strong El Nino will get. Peaking here probably early winter, and some models still put us in a strong to even super El Nino category, which has an even stronger impact or correlation on our winter temperatures. In fact, these are El Nino winters ranked, and at the top are strong El Ninos, and you can see all of those have above normal temperatures really for the northern U.S. And the upper Midwest. So that's reflected in the scientific-based Climate Prediction Center, NOAA's forecast, above normal temperatures forecast for the whole northern half of the country, and wetter than normal conditions in the southern U.S. Again, that lines up with what we would expect in an El Nino winter. So the Farmer's Almanac really seems off already, but we will see what winter brings.